Good morning. Good morning. Here we are again in this very strange work, and I'm wondering, as I look around the room and feel the rustle of our thoughts, whether we might begin with a little proving ground. Not a performance, not a stunt. A proving ground, a gentle test, just long enough to show us what usually moves the lips and claims the microphone. For the next 7 days, just never voice the word I. That's it. Not forever. Not an oath. Not a new religion. 7 days of fasting from one tiny sound in our speech. This is not about being good or bad, advanced or behind. Oh, not at all. Not at all. This is about discovering by experience what the little pronoun has been protecting and promoting, and whether it has been hiring our mouth to sell us on a life that is too small. Now I can feel the first worry come up. Does this mean we are to be unnatural, like statues in a museum? Or slippery, talking around ourselves like diplomats? No, no. You will still answer the telephone. You will still ask for a cup of coffee. You will still say, "Here is a hand, passing the salt," if you like, though your family may wonder if you've joined a theater group. It doesn't make you mute. It doesn't make you deceptive. It doesn't even make you holy. It simply makes a pause, right where the personality would ordinarily rush in and declare its needs, its judgments, its fears, so that we can see what begins speaking when the usual announcer is on vacation. We will permit humor. You need a sense of humor. You will make mistakes the first hour, oh yes. You may last 3 minutes, and then out comes the heroic, "I did it!" which, as you will see, didn't. Laugh and begin again. The first victory here is not perfect speech. The first victory is refusing to turn failure into another form of self-importance. No self-condemnation. No gold stars. We are not keeping score. We are keeping silence around the scorekeeper. Let me be plain. This is about speech as a doorway into consciousness. Thinking about humility won't do it. Editing your diary won't do it. The mouth is the gate we will use because the gate swings easily and reveals what is crowded behind it. As the word goes quiet, even for a breath, a curious thing happens. A little space appears, a space above the sea of thought. And in that space, we may begin to sense whether there is an awareness present that is not manufactured by personal mind. So the question before us is very simple and very daring. When the personal I is starved a week of airtime, what remains? Empty space? Awkwardness? Or presence? Actual, felt, not doctrinal. A gentleness that does its own seeing and moves us without our announcing who is doing the moving. We will find out together. For 7 days, just never voice the word I, and let us watch with kindness what speaks when that familiar sound is still. Now, what is this little word we keep feeding? This I. This tiny pronoun with a very long shadow. Notice how, the moment it is voiced, a fence springs up and little signs get hammered in. My opinion, my hurt, my plan, my supply, my reputation. And then, almost at once, life becomes a job of defense and management. The weather must respect my picnic. The neighbor must confirm my judgment. Even the body must report to my timetable. Do you see the contract hidden behind the syllable? By saying I, we slip in a clause. The universe must conform to personal sense. And then comes the strain, ever so respectable, ever so justified, but strain nonetheless. Who is this I that can be insulted? If words in the air can bruise it, what is its substance? Who is this I that must be right, that must be first, that must be thanked? Where does it begin, and where does it end? Is there a border around it we can point to? Is there an address we can visit? If it is so important, will it please step forward and show its citizenship papers? It collects quite a few bills: anxiety, offense, fear of loss, without ever giving us a forwarding address. And yet, how faithfully we mail it our days. Oh, not at all. We are not erasing your personality, your voice, your laughter. Not at all. We are not bleaching life. We are only discerning between this personal sense, the little announcer with the megaphone, and the deeper selfhood that does not require applause to be. There is a difference between a mask and a face, between a signature and the life that can sign 1,000 different ways. When the mask is believed to be the face, the whole world narrows to its comforts and injuries. When the face is known to be of God, the mask can be used lightly and put away easily. Watch how the word I locks us to time. I was, I will, I should, I shouldn't have. Immediately we are dragged below the sea of thought into currents of memory and forecast, regret and outline. We start editing yesterday and rehearsing tomorrow, and the living presence that only ever is becomes a rumor we will get to when the schedule permits. Thinking won't make this so. Planning won't make this so. Only a rising above the sea of thought permits us to breathe the air that doesn't need yesterday to authorize it, nor tomorrow to complete it. And so, this little fast is not a trick. It is a window into allegiance. Speech reveals who runs the house. If the I cannot speak, it must either surrender its seat or begin to stamp its feet inside. You will hear it, oh yes. The inner lawyer, the stenographer of wrongs, the accountant of credits. Let it rattle its papers. Smile. It cannot file any motion without your signature. Or, perhaps, you will feel a hush, a gentle vacancy where the announcer used to be. Then, instead of my opinion, there is an awareness. Instead of my plan, a movement. Instead of my supply, a confidence that the life which appears as you has its own law, its own flow, its own invisible sufficiency. The secret is not to win an argument with the personal I, but to deprive it of the microphone long enough to discover whether anything remains. If nothing remains, we have lost only our noise. If something remains, actual, felt, quiet, then the contract is broken, and strain loses its case. Let us keep the fast and find out. What is this sea of thought we are to rise above? Not merely the loud opinions in the newspapers or the quiet arguments in the mind. The sea of thought is everything that can be seen and everything heard, tasted, touched, smelled, and then instantly interpreted, judged, feared, desired. It is the picture of a face and the story added to it. It is the ache in a knee and the calendar we build around it. It is the number in the bank and the prophecy attached to it. It is the sound of a voice across the room and the rehearsal of how we will answer. Thought piles itself upon what the senses report, and before we know it, we are under the waves, swallowing water, planning the rescue while still forgetting the shore. Now notice the small mechanism of grace built into our fast. You reach for the familiar syllable, I, and you cannot spend it. In that instant, a gap appears, a breath that was not scheduled, a half step where the foot hangs above the stair. That half step is everything. In that hesitation, the sea is still for a blink, And there is a sense, quiet, subtle, that awareness is present before the sentence is formed, present before the judgment is issued, present before the desire contracts the chest. If we let it, that pause becomes a doorway upward. Rising above the sea of thought does not mean abandoning the world. It means not drowning in our explanations of it. To arrive above the sea of thought is to arrive in divine consciousness. There is a click, often very gentle, sometimes so soft we doubt it happened at all, yet unmistakable once we learn its feel. Not an idea, an actual feeling of God's presence, a sense of aliveness that needs no defense. The shoulders lower. The room grows larger without changing size. The next word feels less like a personal performance and more like something spoken through us. Thinking will not make this so. Arguing certainly won't. But in the pause, presence announces itself, not in thunder, but in rightness. Let us be plain by negation. This is not blankness. Oh, not at all. Not at all. Not stupidity, not passivity, not becoming a potted plant on the windowsill of life. It doesn't mean failing to decide, to act, to answer the doorbell. It means thought is no longer master. Presence is. Thought resumes its rightful role as a servant. It drafts, it calculates, it lays out options. But it does not rule. It does not usurp the throne. How then do we speak honestly without the personal I? Very simply, let the pause do the work, and let the words be clean. This is needed. That will be done. There is gratitude. It seems so. Let's see. Notice how each of these keeps the channel open. We are not smuggling in a little sovereign behind pronouns. We are acknowledging what appears and leaving room for what is. Even in correction. A mistake is here. Let it be mended. Even in planning. Tomorrow, this is arranged. Even in appreciation. There is beauty. Try it in an email, at the kitchen table, in the shop. The tone changes. The room breathes with you. If in the pause nothing comes, wait a beat longer. If a word arises, let it be simple and let it serve. In this way, the missing term becomes our tutor. It forces a sacred hesitation in which the sea cannot sweep us away. And in that lift, again and again, the quiet click of presence appears and guides and completes the sentence. Take a tumbler in your hand for a moment, if only in imagination. Ask with me, where does the inside leave off, and where does the outside begin? Is there an inside wall and an outside wall? Two tumblers back to back? Or is there but glass? We can talk about inside and outside for convenience, for function, because one side touches water and the other touches air and fingers. But there are not two substances. There is but glass. This is not poetry. This is the plainness of a thing held up to the light. Now, can we risk the same plainness about God and man, and about you and what you call another? God is our invisible selfhood. We are the visible form. We are only two in function. There is but glass. The moment the personal I asserts itself, it manufactures a you across the table. Two camps appear, two budgets of fear. Then conflict is logical. If my safety, my reputation, my timetable are the real substance, then yours must be a competitor. But if there is but glass, one life felt in two functions, then what appears across the table is not a foreign nation. It is this very life presenting a new angle of its own wholeness. We begin to hear without girding for battle. We begin to speak without smuggling a little sovereign behind the pronoun. Oh, not at all. Not at all. Oneness does not erase boundaries of function. A mother remains a mother, a cashier, a judge, a patient, a patient. It doesn't make us irresponsible, gelatinous, incapable of no. It makes us honest about substance. There is no me or you separate and apart from God. There are functions, roles, responsibilities, yes, and they can be fulfilled more cleanly when the belief in separation is not shouting orders through the megaphone. Watch what the 7-day fast does to social energy. Without the reflex to say, I think, I need, I deserve, sentences shorten, listening lengthens, and the nervous parade of self-reference tires of marching. This is heard. There is concern. It seems wise to wait. Let us see. Notice how that language does not push a person out of the room. It invites the room into one life. The other relaxes because there is space to be met as self and not as opponent. Even correction changes tone. An error showed up here. Let it be mended. The battlefield begins to look less like a field and more like a channel through which harmony can appear. Here is a small practice. When the mouth reaches for, I feel offended, stop and let the fast do its work. There is a feeling. Then rest. Who is aware of it? If the answer comes as a person, this dear, suffering, dramatic self, wait another breath. Rise a little above the sea of thought until the awareness is felt before the label. Then words may come, perhaps. There is tightness. There is sadness. Or they may not. If they do, they will serve. If they do not, presence has already adjusted the feeling without a speech. Try it in the kitchen, at the shop, on the sidewalk with the impatient driver. Where does you end and another begin? There is but glass. As the personal I quiets, separation loses its argument, and relationships begin to feel like one life, meeting itself, recognizing itself, blessing itself, in the simple courtesy of presence first, then speech, then action. Day 1 begins, and the tongue reaches for that little word the way a hand reaches for a railing on a moving bus. You will feel it, oh yes, the syllable rushing to the lips. I, and then the brake squeals, an awkward swerve, a mouthful of air, and you wonder if the passengers noticed. They did not. But the personal I did, and it will file a complaint. This is impractical. This is fake. This is dangerous. Speech will be crippled. People will think you odd. You'll lose your job. You'll lose your friends. Oh, not at all. Not at all. You will still answer the telephone. You will still sign the check and take the dog out and say, this needs attention. The only casualty is the announcer, who believed that without its narration, life would cease. Life will not cease. The narration will. We are learning to die daily without being grim. You need a sense of humor for this. Seriousness, very often, is only the ego in church clothes. Laughter breaks its starch. When the word slips out, I think, smile, catch the hem of the sentence, and rephrase. It seems so. This appears wise. No groveling apology, no religious sighing, no footnotes about your noble experiment. Simply continue. Every extra apology feeds the very self-importance we are fasting. Guilt is still the same I wearing a hair shirt. We are not changing costumes. We are releasing the actor. In these first 48 hours, you will begin to see how much of ordinary speech is advertisement for a person. Little press releases, credits awarded, wrongs rehearsed, justifications aired, complaints aired again for those in the back. It is comical if we allow it to be. Listen to the hallway of the mind. I was right. I tried. I never get a break. I deserve better. And then watch the miracle of the pause. Without the pronoun, how does the sentence stand? Rightness is being defended. And then it feels unnecessary. Effort happened, and the air comes back into the room. A need is here, and the energy moves to meeting it instead of drafting a speech about who is doing the meeting. If a friend notices your new way and says, "Why are you talking like that?" Do not preach a sermon about dying to the self. Keep it light. Trying a small fast, that will do. The demonstration is not in the explanation. It is in the atmosphere. The shoulders come down. The conversation stops circling the drain of a persona and begins to flow with the business at hand. Even correction, even no, loses its barbs when there is no sovereign to defend. A boundary is here. That won't be done. Clean, kind, sufficient. Here's a simple rule for these 2 days. Stumbling is built into the curriculum. The first victory is not perfect speech. The first victory is refusing to turn failure into another form of self-importance. Each slip is a bell for awareness. Hear it, smile, rephrase, proceed. If the inner lawyer rises with a stack of indictments, "See, you failed again," answer as simply as the master, "Get thee behind me." Then let there be the small pause, the breath above the sea of thought, and continue. Presence does not count slips. Presence fills the space our announcements used to occupy, and that, even on day 1, is comedy enough to keep going. By day 3 and 4, something subtler appears. With the mouth less available to announce "I," the inner petitioner steps forward and tries another door. Dear God, please, health, money, approval, protection. A contract is being typed, small print included. In return for faith, for virtue, for effort, God will arrange the pictures. Do you feel the hidden negotiator? It sounds pious, but listen. A subject is presenting terms to a sovereign, as if the sun could be hired to warm one porch and ignore another. Let us bring this to the light. You can't ask the sun to shine on you. The sun is already being itself. You bring yourself into the sunshine. Automatically, without bargaining, warmth and tan appear. You don't send the sun a memo with an outline of desired effects. You step out from the shade. So it is with prayer. The presence is not waiting for terms. The presence is presence. Seek me only. Seek me only. Not the effects of me, not the rearrangement of shadows, not the improvement of the picture. Me. When the I is quiet, prayer stops negotiating outcomes and becomes communion with what already includes the answer. Oh, not at all. Not at all. This does not mean indifference to human need. It doesn't mean we let the house burn while we meditate on abstractions. It doesn't make us fatalists or victims of fate. Presence is not apathy. Presence is government. Presence is order. To rise above the sea of thought and feel that click of God's presence is to stand where right action becomes obvious, timely, and effective. Thought then takes its proper job, to carry out what contact reveals. Here's the exercise for these 2 days. Each time the mind begins, I need, I want, I must have. Let the fast cut the sentence in half and say instead, let there be awareness of presence here. Then wait, 10 seconds, 30, a minute, until the inward click is felt. Not an idea, a softness, a rightness, a steadiness that isn't personal courage. Then act from that. If a child is sick, let there be awareness of presence here. And in the click, you may dial the doctor, open a window, lay a cool hand, and find that fear has no voice. If a bill is due, let there be awareness of presence here. And in the click comes clarity. Call this person, reduce that expense, send this note. And supply begins to flow as law and not as luck. If a quarrel smolders, let there be awareness of presence here. And in the click, the next words come cleanly. There is concern. May we speak? No bargaining with heaven, just presence governing. Notice what falls away. We no longer attempt to influence God, to whisper strategies into omniscience. We are not installing a stronger antenna to reach headquarters. We are stepping out of the shade of personal outlining into the given light. Seek me only. Seek me only. In that single prayer, improvements take their rightful place, not as trophies for a successful plea, but as byproducts of the sun being the sun and us standing in it. Where God is, harmony is. And where harmony is, the picture rearranges itself without our penning a contract or pleading a case. Day 5, and the hunger speaks. Not for food as much as for importance. The fast has cut the announcer's microphone, and so the stagehand runs out waving props. Shiny ones. The old poet called them BIBBLES. Roll it around a little. BIBBLES, like a marble in the mouth. And we will use that comic word as a bell. A bibble is anything to which we attach undue importance. Status, comfort, control, being understood, getting credit, being first in line, even being thought spiritual. Oh, not at all. Not at all. These are not evil things. A home, a warm coat, a compliment, a clear plan, good, sensible, proper. The mischief is the worship, the grasp, the I that says, without this, life has no meaning. With this, salvation. That is the hunger talking. Notice how cleverly it learns our discipline. We are not saying I, so a new bubble appears, being the champion of the experiment. The inner sportscaster posts scores. 5 days, no slips, gold star. Another bubble, correcting others. Excuse me, you said I 3 times. Another, wanting to be seen as deep, humble, otherworldly. Oh, the halo polisher is busy. Do you see the same little sovereign changing costumes? If it cannot be admired for wealth, it will be admired for renunciation. If it cannot control the meeting, it will control the vocabulary. It's the same appetite, just wearing fasting robes. Here is our comic interruption device. When the rise of panic or the itch for praise pushes at the ribs, what if they don't see the effort? What if the plan doesn't go my way? Let the lips or the mind say gently, that's a bauble. Say it kindly, no scolding. Then return at once to, let there be awareness of presence here, and wait for the click. Not an idea, that small rightness. In that pause, the bauble loses its throne. We have not thrown away the object, we have taken off its crown. Now the paradox that feels like nonsense until it is lived. The way to have the rightful use of life's goods is to give up the grasping for them. The I is the grasper. As the I relaxes, use replaces worship. Money becomes a tool and not a master. Influence becomes service and not a cudgel. Being understood is no longer oxygen. It is a pleasant weather pattern, welcomed when it appears and not resented when it does not. We are not called to hate Bibbles. We are called to stop bowing to them. Let us be clear by negation. This is not asceticism, not hair shirts and empty cupboards, not a vow against art, laughter, good furniture, or dessert. It doesn't mean ignoring bills or refusing medicine. It means bills are recognized as Bibbles, good in their place, nothing in themselves, and presence is sought first. Seek me only. Seek me only. Above the sea of thought, in that felt click, comes the instruction that puts each good into service. Buy this, wait on that, speak now, be silent here. And then, without strain, results appear as law and not as luck. The exact word arrives, the apology forms of itself, the necessary check moves along channels you did not design. In this way, by naming the bills lightly and turning back to presence, we stop being used by life and begin to use life. And we discover that relinquished desire leaves not a hole but a doorway, through which guidance and right supply enter as naturally as sunlight through an open shade. Day 6 is where the room gets tested. Kitchen tables and staff meetings, sidewalks and checkout lines. With the I on retreat, watch how many arguments were fueled not by facts, but by self-reference. The heat was not in the issue. The heat was in the announcer. My timing, my version, my sting to be avenged. Remove the announcer's microphone, and the temperature drops 10 degrees before a word is spoken. You will notice a new willingness to let another have their moment, to let a sentence finish without preparing a rebuttal, to ask, "Is there another way this may be seen?" Let us keep our absent treatment very close at hand. Someone across the desk is sharp, hurried, unjust. Do not argue with their weather. Turn, silently, even in the middle of the sentence. There is but glass. God is the invisible selfhood. This one before me is the visible form. One life, one law. Let there be awareness of presence here. Wait a breath. Feel the small click. Then answer as function requires, clear, clean, sufficient. Often you will watch the face soften, the shoulders lower, an apology tumble out of a mouth that doesn't know why it is apologizing. And if that does not occur, the inward barometer has already moved. The storm has passed where it counts. Oh, not at all. Not at all. This is not avoiding accountability. It doesn't mean we smile at falsehood. It doesn't mean we excuse incompetence. It doesn't mean we become gelatinous and uncommitted. Presence is not a rug to sweep error under. Presence is government. The difference is this. We remove personal warfare from communication. We correct without insult. We set boundaries without bayonets. We say no without writing a novel about injuries sustained. Here is language that serves. Instead of, "I think you misunderstood," try, "This may be seen another way." Not, "I told you Friday," but, "The requirement is Friday." Not, "I can't believe you did that," but, "A mistake showed up here, let it be mended." Not, "I need you to listen," but, "Let's clarify what's needed." Shall we check the facts? This isn't acceptable. Here is the standard. Notice how each sentence does its work while keeping the ego out of the room. The channel stays open. The person across from you is not pushed out of oneness to the status of opponent. As for credit, watch how it melts. Praise comes, wonderful job, and the mouth answers simply, glad it served. Inside, there is gratitude. There is but glass. The work does not shrink. Authorship does. Credit isn't refused, it is dethroned. And criticism? It arrives like weather. Receive it as information. Thank you. A correction will be made. If there is truth in it, adjust. If there is none, let it pass as wind against a window that is not required to argue with the gusts. How shall we measure the day? Not by their applause, not by unanimous agreement, not by the world changing its tone to flatter our discipline. The evidence is inward. The decrease of heat, the increase of peace, the quiet after the meeting without a second, third, and fourth meeting held in the skull. When the personal I retreats, communication is no longer a battlefield. It becomes a channel. Harmony appears, not because we forced it, but because the one that is harmony found language and gesture fit to carry it. Seek me only. Let presence govern, then speak. In that order, conflict loses its teeth, credit loses its crown, and criticism loses its poison. And we discover that conversation was meant to be the riverbed through which one life waters its own fields. Day 7 arrives without trumpets. There is a hush before sentences form. You reach for the old syllable and discover there is something already here. Awareness prior to the sentence. Life prior to self-description. Presence before I. If we stop one breath sooner than the habit, a fact announces itself without sound. Being is present before we narrate it. Thought can admire this as a philosophy, but thought did not put it here, and it cannot take it away. Let us say it in the plain language we've carried. God is our invisible selfhood. What appears as us is the externalized form. Two in function, one in being. There is but glass. When the personal I was noisy, it looked as if there were two substances, me here, God there. In the silence of this 7th day, that appearance yields, and the truth is felt, not argued. There is one. The personal I was the limitation, not the identity. We have none of ourselves, but none less than God. Oh, not at all. Not at all. This is not bravado. It isn't a bigger, brighter ego claiming God as a badge. It doesn't mean we are about to stride through the city immunized against weather and traffic. It means the announcer has set down the megaphone, and the music that was playing all along can be heard. The click is there, quiet, steady. Thinking won't make this so, but in the pause above the sea of thought, the presence that is our life is recognized as our life. Now, without exaggeration, look back at the week and notice. The air is a little clearer. Guidance has been more precise. Small instructions arising of themselves. Call now. Wait. Say it simply. And when followed, they fit. Fear about outcomes has loosened its grip. The future is not silent, but it is quieter because the government of this moment has been felt. Relationships have softened. People did not change species. The atmosphere changed substance. There is more peace between sentences, and sometimes the meeting ends without a meeting in the skull afterward. Credit melted and didn't take competence with it. Criticism knocked and found no quarrel to rent a room. Here is the understanding that carries us forward. The point was never to police vocabulary forever, as if salvation sat on a pronoun. The fast was a proving ground. It exposed what the word had been protecting and revealed what never needed protection. From here, speech returns to service. Sometimes I will appear in an honest sentence. Let it come when needed and go when not. The difference is awareness. Source speaks. Source lives. Source acts. Presence first, then speech, then action. In that order, the word I loses its crown and gains its truth. Not the little claimant, but the I am, the name that is not made by saying it. When the word is silenced, the deeper I am is not created. It is revealed as what has been present all along. Seek me only. Let there be awareness of presence here. And from that awareness, let life proceed as law, as harmony, as the unlabored expression of the one being itself in and as the functions called you. Let us make this very plain, and very simple, and very narrow. Never begin a day or end a day without turning within until the click is felt. Before the feet touch the floor in the morning, before the light is switched off at night, stop. Rise above the sea of thought for a breath and wait for the presence to announce itself as itself. Not a thought, not a mood we manufacture, an actual awareness, a soft rightness that needs no speech to certify it. When it comes, sometimes instantly, sometimes after a quiet minute, the day begins or closes under government instead of under guesswork. Presence first, then speech, then action. How do we turn? We pivot from the picture to the source. The picture is the inbox, the schedule, the headlines, the twinge in a knee, the memory of yesterday's remark. The source is the life that is our life. We do not outline. We do not plead. We do not rehearse problems for God as if omniscience needed a briefing. We stand still within and say, "Seek me only. Let there be awareness of presence here." Then we wait for the click. After the click, pictures can be addressed, not as masters to appease, but as scenes in which the one life displays its own order. You can't ask the sun to shine. You step into the sunshine. Warmth and tan follow of themselves. Oh, not at all. Not at all. This does not mean an hour every dawn with a brass bowl and imported incense, unless that is given you. 30 honest seconds will do, if it is contact. If the house is lively and the clock is severe, take the turn in the shower, at the kettle, at the parked car before the key turns. But take it. No exceptions. Night is the same. Do not tumble into sleep under the weight of the day's pictures. Lay them down. Let there be awareness of presence here. Feel the click. Then let the body sleep while life keeps watch. To keep the edges clean, adopt a simple rhythm. One day each week as a reset, return to the little fast, no spoken I. Or one full week each quarter. Ego creep is like ivy on a wall. It is patient. This trims it back before the bricks are hidden. Carry the comic word bubble in the pocket and use it when the old appetites shout. Smile, name it, pivot. Seek me only. You will notice how quickly the room clears. Modern life is not rejected. It is reordered. Devices are fine, after contact. Open the calendar, after contact. Count the money, plan the project, answer the mail, after contact. It doesn't make us passive or impractical. Presence is not a cloud. Presence is government. Plans become cleaner because they are servants now. The phone is a tool, not a tyrant. The budget is guidance, not a god. We still decide, build, ship, and sign. But the announcer no longer runs the shop. How shall we measure progress? Not by fewer human moments, not by an unbroken string of silent halos. The measurement is the speed of return. We stumble and return sooner. We flare and return sooner. The homing of the heart grows quick and sure, and the pauses come earlier, and the click is trusted. In that way, the lasting fruit is maintained. Presence first, then speech, then action. Let that be the bookend of each day, no exceptions, and watch how the hours between begin to take their cue. Let us be quiet a few minutes. Sit as you are, hands easy, shoulders unhitched from their hooks. Breath is not a project. Let it come and go as the tide comes and goes, obedient to no one's clock. Close the door to urgency by one simple inward turn. We are not going to think about God. We are not going to define God. We are not going to ask God. We are going to be still until the sea of thought is no longer captain, and presence is felt as the fact. Not trying to get something. Not trying to be good. Not trying to stop thoughts. Let the thoughts run if they wish. We will not chase. We will simply not be their policeman. Rest as awareness. Here. The room is the room. The body is the body. The pictures are the pictures. And yet, even before the first sentence forms about any of it, there is an aliveness that is not asking permission to be. Attend there, not with effort, but with willingness, like turning your face to the sun you didn't invent. Now, one phrase, only to point, and then even the phrase can go. Seek me only, softly, once. Seek me only. We are not summoning a far country. We are letting the already present announce itself as itself. Wait. 10 seconds. 30. A minute. The click is not fireworks. It is more like the air in a room coming right. A steadiness. A rightness that is not personal courage. When it is here, and it is, let the shoulders fall another inch. Let the tongue rest behind the teeth. Presence first. Then nothing else is required for this moment. Oh, not at all, not at all. This is not a trance. This is not escape. This is placing government where it belongs. If a thought of a task arises, let it bob and pass. If a memory knocks, nod to it and let it keep walking. Here, awareness, unoutlined, unhurried, sufficient. Where God is, harmony is. Where harmony is, this very minute stands complete. As we rise from this, keep the seal simple. If you are joining the 7-day fast or returning to it for a day each week, make it known only as witness, not as display. Share a rephrase that served you. Tell a small discovery that lightened a room. This was seen. A boundary was set kindly. A BIBBLE was named and lost its crown. No boasting, just the evidence that where the announcer retired, peace went to work. And if you slip, oh, you will. Remember, the measure is the speed of return. Presence does not require your perfection. It welcomes your willingness. Turn again. Seek me only. Feel the click. Then let life proceed. Presence first, then speech, then action. The real conclusion is not spoken. It remains now as quiet recognition when self-talk falls away. Let us be quiet a few minutes more. Then we go on, under government.